Hello, my name is Eric Fujiwara, and welcome to my behaviorist biography presentation. Okay, let's see. To start off, the behaviorist I chose was Bobby Newman, PhD, BCBA, D. Okay, so Bobby Newman is a board certified behavior analyst, a licensed behavior analyst, and a licensed psychologist. He is affectionately known as the Dark Overlord of ABA, which is a bit interesting. He is the author of 13 books regarding behavior analysis, the philosophy of behaviorism, autism spectrum disorders, and utopian literature. He has published over 24 articles, magazine articles, and even hosted a radio call-in show. He is the director of Room to Grow, and Bobby is the past president of the Association for Science and Autism Treatment and the New York State Association for Behavior Analysis, and that's the professional. In his personal life, Bobby is an avid marathon runner, having participated in 6 marathons. He's competed in wrestling, cycling, and drug-free bodybuilding, and his wife was fortunate enough to have survived breast cancer and is now completely healthy. And he and his wife both have a son named David. And this is a picture of Dr. Bobby Newman. And this right here is a picture of him with his son running on the beach, probably preparing for a marathon. And there's Bobby Newman again, just having a lecture. And so the articles I chose, I found 5 where Dr. Newman was the lead author on it. They cover reinforcement, verbal and nonverbal interactions following MANS using both accurate and inaccurate information, management of initiations, shaping, and a study using respondent conditioning, which was the Pavlovian one. And I'll give you the titles. First, maximization of reinforcement by 2 autistic students with accurate and inaccurate instructions. This was the one where they used an apparatus to help kind of facilitate the experiment. The second one, Pavlovian conditioning of the tickle response of human subjects, temporal and delay conditioning. This one was kind of interesting because they were researching the tickle response in humans. The effects of schedules of reinforcement on instruction following in human subjects with verbal and nonverbal stimuli. This is where they were using verbal commands, and then they had, I believe, cards to indicate what to do and what not to do. Self-management of initiations by students diagnosed with autism. So just initiating conversation or interactions with verbally, and the last one is a reasonable shaping versus reinforcing verbal attempts of preschoolers with autism. So they were taking shaping and seeing which was more effective versus in comparison to verbal attempts. So the contributions that these articles provided, I found the selections made for this article are comprised of studies utilizing operant behavioral studies and one focusing on respondent conditioning. The studies conducted used different schedules of reinforcement or reversal design, as well as the use of an experimental apparatus that was comprised of a light box connected to a switch panel. Reinforcement of specific behavioral repertoires amongst individuals on the autism spectrum was a common element for several of the articles. I want to say for 4 of them, because the 5th, I believe, was the Pavlovian conditioning. And okay, so these articles were interesting because they attended to many general aspects of social interaction and self-advocacy in the applied setting while making sure to maintain and develop the understanding and the use of verbal skills. And so the interview questions I came up with, first I wanted to ask, how did you come to be known as the Dark Overlord of ABA? And what exactly is that name referencing? Which seems like a pretty straightforward, hopefully straightforward answer. Have you ever found an opportunity or ever considered using your experience as a personal trainer and marathon runner to support individuals with ASD and vestibular activities? So some of the clients that I've worked with have found that they've progressed when they were participating in activities that required them to be more active and help regulate and be able to comply with any directives that were given. And so the third question I have, in all of your experiences around the world providing support, how have they compared in the reception and practice of the methods provided in the U.S.? I was made aware that in Europe, France, I believe, there's a different perspective in terms of ABA and how it's utilized. So my fourth question, in a few of the articles that I researched, it is stated that further research will help develop what is known about reinforcement of behavior. Have you ever started, or are you planning on making any efforts to conduct further research in these regards? So several of the articles that I read had mentioned at the end that the studies would benefit from further research and experiments to determine if it was legitimate or not. So the fifth I found your article on the research of Pavlovian conditioning of the tickle response rather interesting and unique. Other than the desire to understand the tickle response more fully, were there any other factors that inspired this study? So just kind of want to delve a little more deeper into why, I guess the mystery of it, but if there's anything further, why he can explain why he did it and why he wants to. And so here we are in the importance in the field. This variety of studies may help develop an understanding of how to support a variety of skills for these individuals in the applied setting. The studies open up avenues for further research to help increase skills of independence and self-advocacy as well. They can supply the basis and structure for other researchers interested in these processes, which has the potential to have a positive impact in the field of behavioral analysis, which is related to the question that I had asked. Staff training improves the delivery of services, increases the understanding of the population, and the ability to impart effective intervention. And the final bullet point, consultation and direct treatment provides a direct approach to advocacy and support for the individuals he assists through the use of current strategies and processes. And that's so far what I have. Here are my references, and that's it. Thank you very much.